Is it raining? You record this?
Yeah.
All right. What we have here is a 20-foot SF, which is the Bennington fishing model. That's why we have the two seats up front here. We also have a battery in here. This one's already pre-rigged for a trolling motor, which would be mounted up front, and you can see how the front gate allows for your trolling motor to be mounted. All of the boats that we're stocking for 2012 have this vinyl flooring. Some of them do have, or will have, a snap-in carpet which is available. In our environment on this river, everybody seemed to like that better than just the typical carpet, glued-on carpet. The flooring that Bennington uses is 7-ply laminate boat perma panel, and it's a 3/4 inch plywood that is made for this environment. Chaparral has been using that panel since 1989, and with no failures. So it's not just plywood you'd find, on some other manufacturer's boats. Bennington does a wonderful thing that nobody else does, and that is they warranty these boats. This, with a real good warranty, this floor and all the components with this floor are guaranteed or warranted for the life of the boat to the original owner. That's transferable up to 10 years out. So if I was to buy this boat and keep it for 5 years, and then someone else buys it, that warranty will transfer, and that person will get 5 years of coverage. But as long as I own the boat, it's lifetime warranty. What I really like about the brands that we sell, Bennington being one of them obviously, is that if something happens to this floor, it rots or something happens to it, Bennington is not only going to just send you a piece of plywood in the mail, which is what happens with some other boat builders. They're going to send a piece of plywood to me. They're also going to send me this piece, this piece, this piece, that piece, that piece, that piece, any piece I destroy to replace this floor, and that's under that warranty. So they're pretty confident in their build. As I said, this is the fish model. The 2 chairs up here. There's also one in the aft, and they're removable. They swivel. It's typically what you would see on a fishing style boat. Over on this side, we have a live well, a little bigger than the bait well, which is in the back, and we'll show you that in a minute. Have 2 rod holders up here. Bennington, some of the things Bennington does do that we really like to see is on their fencing here. This is called fencing. All of their fencing is welded on all 4 sides. They build their fencing in-house, they weld it, they bend it, they do all their stuff, then they send it out and anodize the fencing. So all your welds and everything are anodized. Other manufacturers, and some pretty high-end manufacturers, will simply take the anodized material, build the fencing, and then they'll weld it and then spray paint it. It looks a lot like that, but if you start to look close in the showroom, you're going to notice that's what they do. Also on our fencing, we have the panels here. Our panels don't rattle. They have a double-sided tape inside each one of these channels to keep this piece of aluminum from rattling going down the river. So there's some just things that you don't normally see, things that you'll appreciate, you don't even know are there. On our upholstery over here, what Bennington does is they make this upholstery is made in-house, and this upholstery will have 5 different density foams in the upholstery. So the foams they use down here are a little more solid, because that's where your weight is, and then they'll be a little bit softer in the back here, and that's all just for comfort. When you open your Bennington up, you'll see that they have drain channels that will allow any water that gets on the seat to actually drain down and outside the boat. Now, is that 100% dry all the time? No, but it's an attempt to give you a drier compartment. Also on the Benningtons, you wind up finding little storage areas here and there. You can see they're using a powder-coated hinge a piano hinge instead of just a couple of screws and a couple of aluminum hinges here and there. That just bodes for durability. Here again we have a table in this one, a little peanut table, but it's also removable too. And it's, you know, just about everything is, so you can get more floor space. As we look at the Bimini frame, the Bimini top is not on this boat. But what Bennington invented several years ago is this piece right here, which by the way is also lifetime warranty, and the customer, if anything happens to this piece, the customer can actually just, they'll mail you one and you can put it right in. Or they'll pay me to do it, either way you want to do it. But what it does is it gives you the ability to put this top up, and this top is 8 foot wide and 10 feet long. Every Bennington that gets a top gets this top. You can see how much space that this top covers. It really, really is big. Most guys, they'll save some money, do an 8 foot top, and you'll ask them, does it get a top? Yes, it does, but it's not this top. When you want to deploy or collapse this top, all you got to do is come back here and just pop it out. Pop it up, and then fold it all back, and the whole thing will come back like this, like a radar arch. And pop it down, line it up, and that's it. Bennington patented that device, and it's been working real well for them for quite a few years. On our helm seats, we have a flip up helm seat right here, and you can see we don't have just another cheap plastic hinges. These are actually aluminum powder coated hinges, parallel design. I think they're very similar to what you'll find on other high-end boats. I haven't had to replace one yet, and I've been doing this for over 30 years. As we walk our way back a little bit, you can see here's the aft seat I was talking about earlier, and this is your actual bait well that they use on this fish model. Another rod holder here. Up at our helm, you see we use illuminated switches. When the key's on, the switches are illuminated, so at night you'll see little lights here and there. It tells you what's on and what's off, but also gives you a little light to tell you, to actually show you where it is. We use the stereos. We don't cheap out on the stereos. They're all Sonys. They're different stereo units. If you go up to a G or an R model, you'll get a higher end Sony, you can even get them with boosters and amplifiers and all of that stuff. You can get higher end speakers and things like that. But for this is an S model. This is you can see the quality in this boat, and this is an S model. This is you could call it their introductory level, but it's still built like a Bennington. When Bennington builds a boat, they build it a certain way, and they don't. Just because you're getting an S model doesn't mean you're not getting well-built boat. All of the boats that Hoffmasters carries that are twin tune boats like this boat comes standard with 23-inch tunes. This one has 25-inch tunes. That's the difference in this particular model between 9 and 11 people being on the boat. So it bumps it up a little. It tends to hold better in the river. When we go outside, we can go through a few construction issues. Some of the things that Bennington does that other companies don't do. When you're at the boat shows, look at this stuff. This particular ladder is through bolted in 4 places here, plus it's secured to the tune itself. So it makes a very strong ladder. They actually added another step. This is a 3-step ladder, but it's actually longer than a lot of our competitors' 4-step ladders. So that makes it really nice to get in and out when you get my age. Also, these are the 25-inch tunes I was talking about. And what I really like about our pontoons is the fact that we build our pontoons in sections and then weld them together. Anywhere you see a weld on a Bennington pontoon, that is a section. That section is built, hermetically sealed, and then it is pressure tested to make sure that all the welds are good. Once it gets they'll weld them end to end and to the proper length that we need. that also includes the cone, the nose piece, which is also built the same way. Then there's a little fitting on the very top. It'll have a plug in it with a 1/8 inch hole for it to breathe. What that means for you is if you're going down the river and for some reason you knock a hole in this tune, well, you knock a hole in this tune, then you're going to fill this one tune. There's still 3 more tunes, basically 3 more sections. You can see right here. There's one section. There's a bulkhead here also. It's a very strong point on the hull here. A lot of our competitors just roll the whole tube. They would let, if it was to rupture, the whole thing's going to fill. It's going to sink on this whole side. There's a bulkhead here. There's another bulkhead here, and then this nose cone is built the same way. So this particular 20-footer has 3 separate sections on it. The aluminum that we use is I think it's 80 thousandths aluminum. A lot of your other manufacturers use a little bit smaller stuff. One of the things that Bennington does also, they realize that when you're docking, sometimes you're going to wind up using this rub rail, and what they do is this is a 1/8 of an inch cap piece. This is not your structure. Bennington actually has a 3 inch tall, 1/4 inch diameter, 1/4 inch thickness, I'm sorry, piece that starts right about here, and it wraps right around the front of the boat. So it's like a bumper. It's like a bumper. It's just a very strong part. They also, if you want to look up underneath the boat, this is where the rubber meets the road, kind of. You can see Bennington uses 1/4 inch, 3 inch tall channels at 16 inch centers on these boats. Next time you're at a boat show, go up underneath your competitors' boats and look and see if you don't see the 3 inch ones. They'll have, many of them will use a 2 inch, 1/8 thickness at 24 inch centers. So, you know, you wind up with a lot more flex in the boat, things like that. Bennington also uses and welds each bracket to the when you go on 16 inch centers, of course, that puts more thwarts in the boat, and when you put more thwarts in, that will allow you to use more bracing. So these boats don't tend to rack when they're going down a river. We also use keels all the way back. This keel flows all the way back to the back of the boat. Some of our competitors will stop the keel right here, which gives you less protection if you're going to go, you know, beach the boat or something like that. Our keels run the full length of the tune. In order to attach this plywood to this, we use T-fasteners, and what they are is literally this plywood is through bolted to this thwart. It's not, some people will make a big deal out of they'll use like 8,000 aircraft quality fasteners. Well, all that really is 8,000 stainless steel self-tapping screws. Screws tend to loosen up. These just don't do that. So it's things like that you'll find when you have your Bennington. You're just not up under there screwing things back together. You got to remember, when you bolt this deck to these thwarts, then you put a cover on it. Now you've got, in order to service those fasteners, you have to destroy your flooring. Benningtons don't do that, so you don't have to destroy your flooring. And usually by the time they loosen up, you're out of warranty anyway on our competitors. So they're not worried about that. We have splash guards inside and outside. This particular boat does not have lifting strength because this boat is going to come with a 70 horsepower. It's going to run about 16 miles an hour at 75% throttle. It's going to get about 6 miles a gallon doing that. And it's going to burn about 2.5 gallons an hour. So it runs along quite nicely, and it doesn't eat you out of house and home. On our Benningtons, it's kind of hard to see, but up underneath this whole area, every single one of these thwarts come almost all the way out, and they will actually be bolted all the way out. a lot of times those will be bolted there too. On the very back, Bennington does one other thing, and over here's a better shot of it, Tori. These M brackets, you can see these M brackets right here. They're shorter, which gives them more strength. This M bracket is about 3 feet long. It runs all the way up in on that tune. It's welded. It runs all the way to the back of the tune, where we've got a lot of strength in here. So you can see there's a lot of strength back here where the motor pod is, and where you've got a lot of that working and flexing trying to go on. There's a lot of strength there. Just a few things on our Benningtons. There's a lot more. If you come down, we can get a little bit deeper into how they're put together. Bennington is not shy about, if there's a floor plan that you have in your head and it's not in their book, we'll run it up. We'll run it to the engineers and they'll say, hey, yeah, we can do that, or maybe we can't. But if you look over on our 22 SSL here, you'll see where they actually put the fencing outside, because they're pretty proud of their fencing, and it's kind of nice looking. So they kind of they put this actually outside, where your standard S's they won't have it. But that's probably about it. A couple of other features is that the back here we have our heavy aluminum that we run back here, and we through bolt this aft cleat through all of that, and you should be able to kind of see it up underneath there. Yeah, you can see back here where it's actually through bolted into this 1/4-inch thick channel that runs across the stern. We do the same type of piece fore and aft, and we use this really nice cap here instead of another piece of aluminum or something. So if you bump it, it's a lot tougher. Also, all your Benningtons are going to come through with the fencing raised all the way around just a little bit, and that's so that if you get water on the deck or something, it can just run right out. That way it doesn't just collect up underneath there on the inside or things like that. Just another little feature that they do. Most everything that you see that's cutting edge on anybody else's product, Bennington invented it.